welcome back to my channel. It's Mizuki.Arts. Today we're going to be doing a paint with me episode. It feels like it's been a while since I sat down to record the voiceover for one of these, but really it's only been a couple weeks. Just a little bit of background for those of you who don't know, I collage my paintings, so the background piece is made up of two 9x12 pieces of watercolor paper taped together and overlapped by about an inch, and then the mermaid, fairy, and a couple other pieces are all separate. So I'll paint them one by one and then do some refining cuts to obviously free them from any excess paper. This is by far the largest painting I've done outside of school, which is funny because it's not actually that big. It's just, you know, this is the first time that I've actually wanted to create a bigger piece on my own with no outside, pressure or whatever. Normally I'm the kind of artist that wants to create like, an 8x10 or a 9x12 and not, double that. But since I was involving two characters, I honestly didn't really feel like I was working on a piece that was bigger than normal. And I had a lot of fun because the premise for this piece I actually found to be super cute and interesting. I actually decided to title this piece The Trade because the whole idea was a mermaid and fairy met, became friends, and then they traded items from their, environments or worlds or whatever. So the mermaid received a flower crown that the fairy presumably made, and then the fairy received a sparkly little seashell from the mermaid. And then overlapping the rest of the painting, you'll see I add a couple more detail pieces just to kind of fill it out a little bit. I worked on this piece little by little over the course of a couple weeks. I did the background, I did the sketching and line art, of course, on the fairies, and then I took a break for like quite a little while. It was like nearly the end of the sketchbook that I pulled the pieces of paper from before I actually was like, okay, I need to paint the characters and put it all together and finish it. A lot of my paintings do go that way, where I kind of start them and then they sit around for a long time before they eventually get finished. This one I had a particular interest in because it's a narrative piece. I do want to be a children's book illustrator one day, but I also consider myself a girl's lifestyle illustrator, if that makes sense. I want my designs to tell stories that are kid friendly and cute, in a very simple way that could be put on a poster or folders or whatnot. I want my drawings to appeal to young people, and this was a nice way to get to very briefly tell a story through one painting. The art supplies that I used in this piece were Sakura micron liners, and then FAIRY gouache paint. I use it on a watercolor palette. I have a folding palette and I put out some gouache on it and I let it dry. I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't use my gouache really thin, kind of like watercolor. Then I also use Arteza white gel pens later on, and I use some glitter and glitter glue as well. I also like to use ink and watercolor in my illustrations, particularly Himi watercolors, and then Ferris wheel press inks. I've worked with both companies before, so I've received quite a few of their products for free, which I'm very grateful for. It might look weird that I just suddenly stopped working on the fairy to work on this weird rock thing, but since I collage my paintings, I tried to include a lot of different planes and shapes and things like that that are separate from the background. So this rock is for the mermaid to sit on. I tried to add kind of a shadow, and that came together pretty quickly and wasn't too interesting to look at, so we'll just skip right ahead to the mermaid. I decided I wanted her to have kind of an olivey skin tone. And since I gave the mermaid a mostly pink and green color palette, I decided to work with mostly blues for the mermaid, and then give her a pink and green flower crown, because as mentioned it's from the fairy, so I thought it would be nice to bring some of her color into the mermaid's kind of design to tell the story a little better. And I did kind of something similar with the seashell too. Where it had a little bit of blue on it, but I think it was more like a green blue really. But that's kind of what I was trying to convey with that. I also added like little purple shadows here, you'll see. I haven't even gotten to like the base color yet. I just worked on the shadows on the tail. But yeah, the shadows are mostly kind of a purpley tone to go with the blue really nicely. Working on this was so much fun that I honestly I want to do more narrative work. I've tried to work little stories into my paintings lately, like I did a whole picture book at one point. I've talked about it before. I think I even worked on it on this channel a little bit during like my art vlogs and stuff. I just never got around to like releasing it anywhere. But anyway, I want to do like more little narrative pieces and maybe do some writing along the side to go with them. I did a little bit. There's one piece that you can see on my shorts called like Amelie and Babushka Mouse. And it's about a fairy and a mouse that help each other out. It's really cute. I actually wrote like a little mini story that's in like my notes app that's supposed to be kind of about them. I thought it was cute. I may start releasing those on my Ko-fi page or somewhere like that just for practice. I think it's a great way to kind of stretch my creative muscles and put myself in like the headspace for telling stories with both writing and visuals, you know, like paintings. I think it's also a great way for me to connect a little deeper with my pieces, you know. I've mentioned this many times, but I make art pretty quickly. The longest I'll spend on a piece like is pretty much like 3 days. Like it might sit around a long time before I get back to a piece, simply because I'll work on like 5 or 6 paintings at once. But like I don't spend a lot of time like thinking about my paintings, at least in comparison to some other artists. Like I really admire when an artist is like, oh, I've worked on this painting for 10 hours or whatever. I don't do that. I'm too, I don't know, my brain is like rotted out. It's like fried, too fried for me to do that. So yeah, I think that's like a great way for me to get to be a little more creative on a deeper level, I think. And maybe create some characters that like stick, you know, stick in my brain. One of my assignments for my fall classes is going to be to just make a picture book, like a whole picture book, 24 to 36 pages. So I think I have to figure out a story and some characters that I'm going to want to play around with during that time. So I'm trying to get myself kind of prepared for that. I do have some drafts that I think I would like to work with then, but I want to make sure I'm playing around with all of the ideas that I think could be something before I settle on working something for, you know, like an entire semester, like 12 weeks. But yeah, when the time comes to work on all that, I will definitely share the process with you guys and keep you all updated, because I am excited about it. I think that will be a great thing for me, just because it's going to be my last semester of college before I'll be graduated and officially be trying to be a professional illustrator, if that makes sense. It'll be great to graduate and already have a book that's ready to be probably self-published or something along those lines. I think that could be a lot of fun. But anyways, on screen you'll see I'm working with my gel pen, trying to add lots of cute little details. I added lots of pearls, some like flowers and sparkles to her hair. I gave her like some pretty jewelry just because I felt like her design was a little simpler than the fairies, and I didn't want it to look like I was neglecting one design. I wanted them both to look like equally interesting. So I thought since I gave the fairy lots of like ribbon details, I'd give her some pearls. So yeah, I think she looks really nice. And here I am just cutting her out. And then gluing both of our girls here on. I'm using, I believe, Mod Podge this time around, and then I did some like faux shadows, some extra detail painting parts, and then here are those extra pieces I was talking about. And then I went in with my favorite glitter glue and some silver star glitters and finished it up. And here we are. Here's our finished piece. I love it. I just adore collage. I think it's such a fun medium. And obviously I love gouache painting too. I've been using gouache for like probably almost 3 years now, something like that. But yeah, it's like, it's one of my favorite mediums of all time, for sure. And I love combining both collage and gouache. I think it's a fun mix. And look at how sparkly our painting is. I think this turned out fabulous. It's sitting on my desk right now because I love it so much. Real quick before I end the video, I want to give a shout out to my Ko-fi supporters. So thank you so much to Ashley, Savvy, and Tiffany. Your guys' support means the world to me, and it allows me to keep making videos just like this one. If you would like to join my Ko-fi tiers, there will be a link in the description box where you can get all these benefits and so much more. Well, that's it for this video, guys. Make sure you go check out my shop for prints and stickers. Follow me on Instagram, and thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys next time. Bye!